Hey friends, imagine this. You're sitting in a cold conference room after years of late nights and weekend fixes, heart pounding as your boss leans in with a smirk and says, "You're just trash code, kid. Pack your stuff." What would you do? Cry, beg, or quietly rewrite the entire foundation of his empire and watch it crumble by sunrise? If that hook just grabbed you by the chest, hit that like button right now and subscribe, because stories like this, raw, real, and full of fire, are what this channel is all about. Today, we're diving deep into the tale of Marcus Reed, a man who turned betrayal into his greatest comeback. Let's get into it. Marcus had always been the quiet engine in the room. At 32, with messy brown hair that never quite sat right and eyes that carried the weight of too many all-nighters, he wasn't the flashy type. He grew up in a small Midwest town where his single mom worked double shifts at the diner just to keep the lights on. Computers became his escape, lines of code that actually made sense when life didn't. He poured that passion into Nexus Dynamics, a scrappy startup trying to build affordable AI tools for small businesses. For 3 years, Marcus was their backbone. He joined as employee number 7, right after the seed funding round, when the office was just a cramped warehouse with flickering fluorescent lights and dreams bigger than their budget. He didn't just fix bugs. He built the core architecture that let their AI actually learn from messy real-world data. Late nights turned into early mornings as he debugged crashes that threatened to tank client demos. When the CEO, Victor Lang, a slick, Ivy League type with perfect teeth and a wardrobe that screamed, "I belong on a TED stage," needed someone to impress investors, Marcus was the one staying until 3 a.m. rewriting modules on the fly. Victor would clap him on the back in meetings, calling him, "my secret weapon." The team loved Marcus too. Sarah, the sharp marketing lead with a laugh that could light up the darkest sprint, would bring him coffee and tease him about his ancient hoodies. Young intern Jamal looked up to him like a big brother, shadowing him through complex deployments. They were more than coworkers, they were a family scraping by on ramen and hope. But startups are brutal. Cash flow tightened. Investors demanded faster growth. Victor started showing up in expensive suits, talking about scaling vision, while cutting corners everywhere else. Marcus saw the cracks first. The rushed security patches, the untested features pushed to production because momentum matters more than perfection. He raised concerns gently at first, then more urgently in private meetings. "Victor, this could expose user data. We're building on sand here." Victor waved him off with that trademark charm. "Relax, Marcus. You're great at the tech stuff, but leave the big picture to me." The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday. The company had just landed a major client, a national nonprofit relying on their AI for donor matching. During the demo, everything imploded. Latency spikes, data mismatches, panic in the Zoom room. Marcus had warned them the previous week, but Victor had overridden his suggestions to hit the deadline. As the client stormed off virtually, Victor's face turned red. He called an emergency all hands in the glass-walled conference room everyone pretended was modern. Marcus sat there, exhausted, expecting support. Instead, Victor stood at the head of the table, sleeves rolled up like he was about to deliver a motivational speech. "We can't afford dead weight," he said coldly, eyes locking on Marcus. "Some people just aren't built for high growth. Marcus, your code is trash. It's holding us back. You're fired. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out." The room went silent. Sarah's mouth fell open. Jamal looked like he'd been punched. Marcus felt the words hit like ice water. Trash. After everything. His hands trembled under the table as humiliation burned his cheeks. He had missed his mom's birthday last month for a product launch. Skipped holidays. Ignored his own health issues, those persistent headaches from staring at screens too long. He didn't argue. He simply stood, gathered his laptop and a single framed photo of his mom, and walked out under the fluorescent glare. The security guard, an older guy named Pete who sometimes shared sandwiches with him, looked ashamed. "Sorry, man," Pete whispered. Marcus nodded, throat tight. As he stepped into the parking lot, rain soaking his hoodie, the weight of 3 years crashed down. Bills piled up. His mom's medical costs from her recent diagnosis weren't going to pay themselves. How do you start over when the industry whispers travel fast? LinkedIn would light up with Victor's version. difficult team player. Not a culture fit. That night, alone in his tiny apartment with its leaking ceiling and secondhand furniture, Marcus didn't sleep. Anger simmered, but beneath it was something sharper, clarity. He had built their entire backend. He knew every undocumented shortcut, every hidden admin key, every fragile dependency. Victor had never bothered learning the details. He left that to the tech guys. Marcus wasn't planning revenge at first. He just wanted to understand why it hurt so much. Logging into his personal machine, he reviewed old commits, pull requests, and monitoring logs. The vulnerabilities stared back at him, unpatched, because, we'll fix it post-funding. What happened next wasn't rage. It was precision. Marcus spent the night in a fever of focus, fueled by black coffee and the kind of quiet determination that only the deeply betrayed possess. He didn't hack destructively. No, he did something smarter and more devastating. He activated a dormant failsafe he had quietly embedded months earlier, a self-auditing protocol designed to protect the system but which, when triggered manually, could isolate and shut down non-compliant modules for safety. Victor's corner cutting had left the whole platform exposed to exactly this kind of controlled collapse. One by one, Marcus initiated the sequence through back channels only he fully understood. Servers began reporting critical integrity failures. Data pipelines froze. The AI models, the crown jewel, went into quarantine mode, spitting out errors that made the platform unusable. By 6 a.m., Nexus Dynamics was dark. Client dashboards showed service unavailable. Investor Slack channels exploded. Victor's phone rang off the hook. The startup that had raised millions on promises of reliability was now a ghost town online. News trickled out on tech forums. Major outage at Nexus, suspected internal sabotage. But Marcus had covered his tracks ethically, every action logged as a legitimate security response to detected threats that Victor had ignored. The fallout was swift and emotional. Victor called Marcus at dawn, voice cracking from panic. "What did you do? Fix this now and I'll give you your job back, double the pay." Marcus listened to the man who had called him trash bag. "No, Victor," he replied calmly. "You built on my work and threw me away. This wasn't revenge. This was consequences." He hung up, heart pounding with a mix of sorrow and release. In the days that followed, the real depth of the story unfolded. Sarah reached out first. She had quit the same day, disgusted by Victor's leadership. "You weren't the problem, Marcus." He was. Jamal texted too, scared but inspired. The team scattered, but many landed better gigs because of the skills Marcus had taught them informally. Marcus himself faced scrutiny, HR investigations, potential legal threats, but the evidence showed he had only exposed what was already broken. No data was lost permanently. No harm to users beyond temporary outage. The startup's investors pulled out, forcing Victor to sell assets at a loss. Nexus didn't survive, but its fall became a quiet cautionary tale in tech circles about treating people like disposable parts. For Marcus, the real resolution came slower and sweeter. He used the quiet weeks to rebuild himself. He started a small consulting firm focused on ethical AI infrastructure, systems designed with humans in mind first. His first clients were those small businesses Nexus had once courted but neglected. Word spread. Sarah joined him as a partner. Jamal interned full-time while finishing school. Marcus visited his mom more, holding her hand through treatments, finally present in the ways that mattered. The headaches eased as he learned to set boundaries. He even met someone new at a local coding meetup, a kind woman named Lena who laughed at his old hoodies and challenged him to dream bigger without burning out. Looking back, Marcus realized the firing wasn't the end. It was the brutal push he needed to stop hiding his light under someone else's vision. He had spent years shrinking himself to fit a toxic mold, believing loyalty meant silence. The shutdown taught him that true power isn't destruction, it's knowing your worth so deeply that no one can take it. And that's the inspiring heart of this story, friends. In a world that often treats dedication like it's replaceable, remember, your skills, your heart, your late nights, they matter. Don't let anyone call you trash. Build quietly, stand tall, and when the moment comes, let your integrity speak louder than their ego. If Marcus could rise from that rainy parking lot to something better, so can you. If this story fired you up, smash that like button, Let's get this to 10K likes. And subscribe for more real-life underdog tales, tech truths, and comeback energy. Drop your own fired and inspired stories in the comments. I read every single one. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. You've got this. See you in the next video. Stay strong out there.